One of the first videos I made was when I took a trip to Birdland and to the Longleat Safari Park, and then later in that same year, God, that was only last year, wasn't it? Later in last year, I went to the Westmidlands Safari Park as well. I like going to safari parks. It's a fun thing to do. And if you can couple going to safari parks with taking photos, then it's great. It's a nice day out, and you get to sit in the car, and I get to sit in my my t-shirt without a coat on or without a hat on, even though it's still winter out there. And if I were to go out and wander around on the top of a hill somewhere, I'd inevitably need something a little bit different. So today I've come to Woburn Safari Park, which isn't too much further away than anywhere else. I came originally because actually the light that we had this morning was this really nice autumn light, and it's now probably about 1:30-ish. Just turn the engine on there so that my clock comes up. It was nearly 2:00-ish, and I'm just about to go around the safari park for the first time. And probably what I'll do is a couple of circuits of the safari park. Now, the last time I went to a safari park, which was West Midlands, I got the best shots that I could possibly ask for. The safari park today is open until 4:00, which means that I have got 2 hours in order to try and make that lightning strike twice. I'm about to set off now. Let's see how we got on. I should say the lighting that we've got today is very harsh, and it wasn't earlier at all, and I'm hoping as the day gets a bit further on that harshness is going to go away. I'm not sure that we will get that. As with last time, I've got my camera off its strap, so it's easy to sort of grab. Settings wise, I'm going to put it on D9, which is the best experience I had before. I'm going to set it to f8, and I'm going to let it largely choose the shutter setting for itself. The other thing that I've got, which I should mention, is my camera, because I want to take some shots that I can sort of instantly use for social media. And along with that, I've also got these moment lenses. Is this one, which is a 18mm, which, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be using today at all. And I've also got this one, which is the 58mm zoom lens, which I think is the one that's going to end up being used. So Instagram stories is what I want, tall pictures, but I need to zoom in as much as possible. So that's what we're after today. Let's take a first trip around the park and see what I can get. Well, I've just been through the very first bits of the animals, and actually this sun is far too harsh. So I think once I've been around, I'm going to have to go around again. We're slightly moving forward. We're moving into the next bit of the enclosures, which is starting to be the carnivore section. In terms of the settings that I was talking about, actually, those are going pretty well. Those are all right. But I mean, the pictures are sharp. That's really what I'm after. As I said, D9 on to focus with. I'm obviously continuous focusing because animals, they move, so that's kind of important. I've got 350-ish because of the 300mm zoom, 250, 350. I've played around with it a bit, and ISO of 400. Let me just check here. 320 I've got, sorry. With the F number is being sorted out by the camera, so that I don't have to, because I need as much time and to play around with it as possible. We are on ISO 400, which is pretty good actually for something like this. I've had better, obviously, when it's when the sun is in the right place and everything. You can do that, because I want to make sure that we're getting all of those shadows as well. Then I've put it up a bit, but we are about to enter the tiger enclosure, so I'm going to be sensible and turn my camera off now, so that if I see a tiger, if there's one up ahead, and it's right by the cars, so this might be an interesting trip. Well, I've just done the tigers and the bears, and didn't go very well, unfortunately. The tiger I might have got a shot for, but it's not a particularly good one. And the bear, I just missed. It was crossing the road. The tiger did come right up close to the car, it's an amazing experience. But of course, the problem with that is that there's another bear. There is another bear. I wonder if I can get to a position where I can get this. No, it's like they don't like me. I just about focused and was just about ready to take a shot, and then it moved behind a tree. So some of these animals clearly don't like to have their picture taken. However, first time round, it's 2:20, so I've got a bit of a chance to do this. I'm going to go through the important stuff because I'm here to take photos. I'm not here. Oh, blimey! I'm not here to see all the animals. I want to get the good photos done. So we're going to try and do that. Focus on that. In terms of camera settings, actually, I think I'm getting sharp enough shots. The ones with the stiller animals are pin sharp. The one which was on continuous, which had the tiger walking towards me, not quite as sharp as I was expecting, but it was all right, and it was right at the 300mm zoom. And I do think that if you've got that 300mm zoom out and you're not on, you've got to be really sort of precise when you're at that 300mm. Otherwise, it's a soft focus. It's not out of focus as such, but it's not quite as sharp as it could otherwise be, especially if there's smaller things in the frame to begin with. However, pretty pleased so far. We'll see how that turns out in the long run, whether or not I'm going to be able to do anything else. I've just seen that we're entering the African lion section right now. Was what I was looking at. If I could get another set of lions, that would be an amazing thing, but I don't think I will, because I think the animals here are either a little bit more active or a little bit more hiding away at the moment, and either way, that's not necessarily good for photography. So we'll see what I can get. Plus, that sun still very, very harsh. Didn't matter with the tiger because the tiger was kind of in the shade. There was this lovely dappled light, and that would have been an absolutely fantastic photo if only he'd have been just a little bit further to the right, because I was getting the sticker for my car window in there, and I don't think there's going to be a way I can take that off in Lightroom or Photoshop afterwards. We'll see about that a bit later on though. For now, on to the lions. Well, that was a bit disappointing. The lions themselves were in a cage. They're clearly doing some sort of construction work there, and they've caged off the lions. So that was my first trip round. There's nothing much here, to be honest. They've got a kind of walkthrough, what they call a walkthrough safari, which basically means they've got another bit of a zoo here. And that wasn't really why I came here in the first place. I came here to see the lions and tigers and the animals that you want to take pictures of. I didn't know they had bears, and had I got a picture of the bear, I probably would have been a lot happier with that. Anyway, I'm going to go around for a second time. I'm going to skip the bits that I know I'm not that interested in and go straight on to try and get those few animals that I know I'd like. Woburn so far, there's not much here. I've skipped the monkeys as well because I've had bad experiences with monkey enclosures in the past, so I've skipped that bit too. But so far, I might have one picture and then that's it, and not a patch on going to Westmidlands Safari Park, where I got dozens, absolutely dozens, and there was a reason to sort of stick around because the animals were all over the place. Whereas here, it's a lot sparser, and perhaps because there's not as many people around today, there's not as much of a sort of push to stay and look at the animals that perhaps you're not as interested in. Hang on, never mind. Going round again and we'll see what I'm going to do. In terms of cameras and settings and everything, pretty happy with that. I think that's gone quite well. I did try and prop my camera up so that you could see me taking one of the pictures, but it didn't work because I'm in a car, there's not very many surfaces to stand oddly shaped cameras on. and it's unfortunate, but there we go. You will know all of the settings that I will use on these pictures though, so don't worry about that if you're wondering. Okay, well, time for round 2. Before we go into the second trip around the park, here are the images that I took the first time round. These two are pin sharp and I was really pleased with them. They didn't need much in the way of editing to get them up to scratch, and they're nice and sharp right in the eye, which is where I was focusing. I'm also including the one shot I did have of the bear, although this wasn't particularly sharp. Again, I was trying to focus on the eye, and I think the foliage in the foreground got in the way. As for tiger images, they had a lot more camera shake when I took them into the computer than it looked like in the back of the camera, and the first time around, well, they were pretty much unusable. Okay, that was much better. No lions, no bears, but I actually, because I was kind of aware of what I was expecting from the tiger enclosure, I have got what I think is a good picture of a tiger. And that is worth coming to a place like this anyway, because that alone is something that I never would have got anywhere else. And it's kind of a bit situational as well. I'm going to go around again. I'm going to see what happens if I go around one more time. I don't necessarily think I'll get anything better, but you never know. Plus I'm going to try and get some B-roll as well because I haven't taken any today at all. So if you see B-roll on this video, then that's because I was able to do some of that. Right, okay, number 3, here we go. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better than last time, but if it isn't, I've got something that I'm pleased with, I think. And here they are, 3 shots of a tiger, and I am very pleased with them. They're sharp, and actually they're quite cropped from the original images as well. I would have liked to have removed the fence from behind the tiger in the first image, but that would have been far too much work, and actually that's the biggest crop of the lot, so probably not something I'll end up printing. But after a significantly better trip around the second time, I had some disappointment coming my way. Well, that was it, and the third time round was pretty bad actually. All of the tiger, which was the one thing that I was hoping to get another shot at, had been put back in its cage. I suppose these things happen at various different points, and I doubt very much it's on the behest of the park staff themselves. I'm sure that the tiger has an awful lot more to say about whether they go into their cage or not. However, I do think I've got one shot from it, and I think it's a pretty good shot. So the next thing to do, of course, is to get back into Lightroom and to see how it turned out. And this is how it did turn out. Not one of the big predators you come to these parks to see, but rather a humble giraffe. Now, there are lots of people out there who say they don't like giraffes, but I think they're great, and I love this image. You might think he hasn't been placed well in the frame, but that was actually deliberate. I wanted to give the impression of a friendly, playful animal, which is how they've always seemed to me. And this was playing to my camera's strengths as well, giving me a tack-sharp image that I'm incredibly pleased with. In fact, I think I'm going to be printing this in the near future. The day wasn't completely wasted, and I do think I've got some pretty good shots there overall. Next week, I'll show you how my favourite shot of the day was edited. Until then, thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and a comment on the video. Also, if you've not done it already, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon at the end so you know when I upload a new video. Until next time, folks, goodbye, and keep snapping!